La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Viewers of MTA, we are happy to come your way with another version of Misconceptions Removed, a program which has been designed to help remove some of the misconceptions that people have about Islam. I do have many misconceptions about Islam, and I believe our viewers out there have even much more misconceptions. But once again, we are fortunate to have the Naib Amir III of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission in the person of Al-Hajj Ahmed Suleiman Anderson. Al-Hajj Ahmed Suleiman Anderson, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
And we are very grateful for having you once again.
It is my pleasure once again to be with you.
Thank you very much indeed. Today, we want to continue with our discussions, our earlier discussions. We spoke about jihad in our earlier discussions. Today, one of the issues that people would want to know Islam's position on is the personality called Jesus Christ. We know that the Christians do believe in him as a son of God and as a God as well. But in Islam, we do not know whether you believe in Jesus Christ in the first place. And if you do, what position or what beliefs do you have about him? So first of all, we'll begin by asking who Jesus Christ is according to the teachings of Islam.
Thank you very much, my brother, once again. And it's my pleasure to be with you again on this issue of misconceptions removed. Islam is a universal religion. It is a religion which is the culmination of all revealed religions in the world. Every religion that has been revealed by God, Allah Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Islam accepts it. And therefore, the prophets and all founders of such religions are accepted by Islam, including Jesus alayhi salam. In Islam, mostly you hear the name Isa. And when we mention the name Isa, we add a prayer, which is alayhi salam, that is peace be upon him, Allah's peace upon him. This prayer alone signifies the fact that Muslims revered him, Muslims accept him as a true messenger of God, Muslims accept him as a beloved of God who was sent to the world at a point in time with a mission to, as it were, illuminate the darkness. And when I talk about darkness here, I'm talking about sin, which spiritual darkness, which has engulfed the world at a time. And among many other things, and like his predecessors and even people after him, he was raised to come and brighten, if you like, the corner and ensure that the unity of God is established and that mankind recognizes their creator and reform themselves. So yes, Muslims accept him, but not in the way that you describe, that Christians do. They see him as God and Son of God and many others. Okay. No, in Islam, the teaching is that La ilaha illallah, and that means there is no deity, there is no God except Allah. He has no partner and he has no equal. And we are taught by the Quran to say that God is one, that's Kul huwa Allahu ahad. He is one, he was not begotten, nor does he begot. So he's alone and has no partner. So we do not accept any other person that God has created to be his equal. So it is in this light that Muslims see Jesus alayhi salam.
Thank you very much. So in essence, you are saying that you do believe in Jesus Christ, all right, but you believe in him as a messenger of Allah. And as a messenger of Allah, whatever teachings that he was sent with, you as Muslims do accept said teachings as true teachings from the Almighty Allah, and so you follow those teachings as well.
If even I'm not cutting you short, he himself, at one point in time, described himself as a messenger of God. He said that, "Know ye, O Israel, that your God is one. And then know Jesus Christ, whom he has sent." In fact, he described that as salvation. That salvation means knowing the true one God, which is the same as La ilaha illallah that I said earlier. So right. If this knowing true one God in Christianity is said, the same words are used in Arabic, it will be simply La ilaha illallah.
Okay.
So, and he added that, and Jesus Christ, whom thou hast sent, that is Jesus who God has sent to the world. Clearly, that tells you that he is a messenger of God.
So, if Muslims do believe in Jesus Christ and you view him in the manner that you have described, how come that Muslims are seen to be opposed to Jesus Christ? Because I believe out there, the misconception out there is that Muslims do not have anything to do with Jesus Christ, and so therefore they do not have anything to do with Christianity, which is believed generally to be the teachings or the religion that was brought by Jesus Christ, or Allah or the Almighty God sent Jesus Christ to establish on earth.
It is very unfortunate, and once again sad too, and maybe rightly so in this program as a misconception, that Muslims are opposed to Jesus. Never in any way will a Muslim oppose Jesus. In fact, in Islam, before your faith as a Muslim can be confirmed to be the truth and be a real Muslim, you must accept all the prophets that God has sent. And all the prophets God has sent includes Jesus. So for a Muslim to be called a Muslim, he must necessarily accept Jesus. Failure to do so will not make you a complete Muslim. Okay. The difference is that Christians, and maybe even in this case not all Christians, but most Christians, accept him as God. That is where Muslims differ. Okay. That the person you are seeing is not God, but he is a messenger of God who brought the message of God to mankind. So we have no business equalizing him with the one who created him.
Yes, I understand perfectly, but it brings to the fore yet another misconception. Before we go out to the street and ask the view of our viewers out there, the question then arises: you believe in Jesus Christ. He has come with a religion, and he has told you that there is no other way. Nobody can go to the Father except through him. So if you do believe him and you accept his teachings, why don't you just pass through him and go to heaven? If that is indeed your belief.
We do believe in him, except that his teaching, like I said, if he said, know your God as one God, and know Jesus as his messenger, that is exactly what we believe in. That tells you that we have accepted his message. The message that he brought, we have accepted it. And then the fact that, some Christians, they believe also that his blood is the salvation. If you believe in the fact that he was crucified, died on the cross, shed his blood for your salvation. These kinds of, or these types of teaching, which, so to speak, is the foundation, the cardinal principle of Christianity, is what Muslims do not accept. Okay. And that is what makes them look like they are different and they are opposing Jesus. You remember, these are not the teachings of Jesus himself.
That's fine.
These are teachings that others have introduced. I call them interpolations. That others have introduced into the message that Jesus brought. That's fine. Which is why Muslims are there to give honor to the name of Jesus. Okay. Because when he was going away, he said, yes, when I go away, the comforter will come. That's right. And when the comforter comes, that's right, he will restore you to God. Okay. So the comforter, being Islam and its founder, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, has come to clear the misconception about his personality, the deity, the Godhead that people have given to this noble prophet of God, is to remove it and tell them that no, this is a beloved of God, and we should accept him as such and know God as Jesus himself taught us, and know God as one and true, and Jesus, alayhi salam, who he has sent.
Very well, very well. I believe that the issue of the comforter being the advent of Islam, haven't come to sort of unveil or explain the true nature of Jesus Christ, another topic in itself which can be discussed in detail in another program. But for now, I want us to go out there and then listen to what the viewers also think about what your Muslims think about Jesus Christ. Then we can come back to the studio and then we'll seek your views as to what you think about what they are saying. So let's hear what they have to say.
They don't believe in Jesus Christ. They don't believe in Jesus. They know about Jesus, but they don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah.
You know about Jesus. You don't believe in Jesus. You know about Jesus, but you don't believe that he is the Messiah. How much do you know about Jesus?
You it's not just the fact that we know about it, but we do not believe. I told you earlier on that the faith of a Muslim becomes complete for him to be called a Muslim when his belief in Jesus and any other prophets who have come from God are complete and affirmed. So we just have no fact. If you look at the manner Jesus has been described in the Quran, the honor that has been given to him and his mother, Maryam, or Mary, as Christians will call, is unparalleled in any religion. No religion has given honor to Jesus and his mother than Islam has done. And come back to our African tradition. If somebody loves another, especially elders, ancestors, and what have you, what do? You name your children after such an ancestor who you believe has done something that is worthy of emulation. You want your son or your child to be like that person. You name your child after that person. So you come to Islam and you hear the name Isa, and it's very common. In fact, in our part of the world, it is very, very common. And Isa in Islam means Jesus. So that is an answer to the question of recognition of Jesus. It tells you how Muslims love him, that the qualities that he exhibited, the message that he brought, how Muslims will want the humility that he exhibited. We want our descendants to follow those footsteps.
Yes. If you listen to the tape very well, there was another aspect of it that she introduced. Do you believe that Jesus Christ is a Messiah?
Yes, we do. The Messiahship here, Messiah will mean a redeemer, a reformer. Some like I said, somebody who has come to reconnect mankind to their Creator. Mankind drifts away when we find ourselves deep in sin. We become rusty. We are not able to relate to God very well. And so Jesus, at the point in time, was sent as a redeemer, as a reformer, to come and redeem mankind from that, spiritual darkness into spiritual light. So, yes, we believe so when we believe in him as such, having done that, and which qualifies him to be called a Messiah. And Messiah that the Jewish were waiting for. Maybe that's another topic. The Jewish themselves have still not recognized that he was the Messiah. But Muslims believe that yes, he was the first Messiah who was raised for the salvation of mankind, especially that part of the world where he was raised among the Israelites.
Okay. Fine, thank you. But in explaining the point about Jesus Christ, one issue that came out prominently, which I believe is the key or the major difference between what you believe Jesus to be and what Christians believe Jesus to be. You've already alluded to it, but I just want you to throw more light on it. That is, whether you believe that Jesus Christ is God or he's not God. And if he is not, what are the specific teachings of Islam that make Muslims believe that, yes, you believe in the same person as a Messiah, as we have explained, as a messenger of Allah, but not as God?
In Islam, believing that God shares his Godhead with others or with something else totally defeats the whole basic teaching of Islam. That Islam says that there is no God but Allah. And so the person that God has created, but every human being is a creature of God, including Jesus, including the prophet that Muslims adore so much, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are all human beings, but human beings who have been given some special position by Allah himself because of what the duties that he has entrusted them to bring. And so Jesus being in that same light, that same situation of carrying a message from Allah, is not the equal to the person who gave the message. So Muslims do not accept the fact that Jesus is God. But if he were God, he wouldn't have been born by a woman.
Yeah, so from the earlier explanations, the earlier explanation you have offered, you've said that you believe in Jesus Christ as a messenger. You also mentioned that you believe in him as a Messiah. I want to know from Islamic perspective who a Messiah is in Islam.
A Messiah is a Messiah in any form that we think of. He is a redeemer, a reformer at the time that he was raised. He in his mission, if you listen to him from the biblical account, he was sent to the lost sheep of Israel. And we all know how many tribes Israel had. So the term Messiah, like I've said earlier on, refers to one who is redeeming people who have gone astray from a path that had been chalked for them. Supposedly they were to walk on that path, but they veer off that path and are doing something else. So God sent somebody to bring them back to that road, and that is redemption, and that is the meaning of a Messiah, redeeming people from their erring ways onto the right path.
So, in essence, it means that he is a messenger because he was sent by Allah.
Yes.
Then he is a Messiah because Allah had given some teachings earlier, and people have deviated from the teachings, and he was to come and restore, or so to speak, to reform the people at the time. And that is what makes him a Messiah. That's very good of you. So we will go back to the street and listen to the other issues that people have about some of the teachings of of Islam?
Oh, I think it's the same as Christians because they see him as the God for Christians. So I think they don't see him in a very different way or something.
Things that the belief that you have in Jesus Christ and that of the Christians are almost the same, except that the Christians say that he is God. And indeed, you accept the fact that the Christians believe that Jesus Christ is God.
I completely disagree with you when you said that Muslims see Jesus as God, the God of Christians. We do not see him as such, unless probably we are talking about a different Jesus. But if it is the same Jesus that we are talking about, we know and believe that that Jesus is a messenger of God. He himself has described himself as a messenger of God, and he taught us to believe that there is only one true God who we should recognize before we attain salvation. He said we should recognize him as one true God and recognize him as Jesus as a messenger of God, for our salvation. So the view of Muslims about Jesus is not that he is a Christian God, no, that he is a messenger for mankind or for the people to whom he was sent. God is a complete, different, separate entity who has no equals, who has no partner, who is the creator of everything heaven and earth contains, And so that is not, we see him as that messenger of that God who is the creator.
But you are certainly aware that for the Christians, they believe that he is God. That you are very much aware of that.
I'm very much aware that not all Christians, but most Christians believe that he is the same God who came in the form of human being. And that is surprising, that God will create a human being and then he himself will come down through the human being that he has created. Then the two of them, who is superior? And at the time that he was in the womb of the person that he has created, who was God then? Who was watching over the universe? Okay. So that is a contradiction there, and it diminishes the power and authority of God. God is not a matter that can be limited to space and time. Like Jesus, human being placed at one place in time and then passed away at a certain time and so on and so forth. These are not the attributes of God. God doesn't sleep. God doesn't even slumber. He doesn't eat. He doesn't do anything that human beings do. Okay. Even though we say, and most Christians say, that, in fact, we accept that one too, that he has created us in his image. That image is the attributes that he has. Okay. Kindness, is an attribute of God. Okay. Generosity is an attribute of God. So these things, forgiveness is an attribute of God. These things we exhibit as human beings in reflection of God's true attributes. So in that manner, yes, we are images of God. And Jesus Christ will also do the same. But in no way do we consider him as God.
There's one point you made that I would want you to throw more light on. You said it in your earlier submission, and you have just emphasized it, that you said you know where he came from. I mean, we are talking about Jesus Christ and where he is. And just a while ago, you did make mention of the fact that not somebody who has come as a human being, he lived like a human being, he died and was buried and all that. These are quite contradictory according to the teachings of Christians. Where do you think Jesus Christ is at the moment as we speak? Because the Christians do believe that you spoke about ascension, supposed ascension. They believe that Jesus Christ is living with his Father up there, and he used to come back sometime. But you are saying that he's dead, he's buried. Where is Jesus Christ?
You have even introduced another subject and another misconception that is living up there with his father. Somebody who is supposed to be God is now living with his father. So who is the father and who is Jesus? But that is a topic for another day. Yes, but yes, Muslims believe that, and particularly I must also confess that some Muslims believe that he ascended and he is living up there and will come down at a point in time. Some Muslims believe that. But let me say that the Quran does not support this kind of belief. The Quran clearly talks about his passing away, dying naturally as any other human being that God has created. And as a person, as having died a natural death, he is not coming back in his person with the same flesh and the same blood as he was, in the same features as he was. Yes, there is a prophecy about his coming again. And that prophecy is true, but the fulfillment of that prophecy is just like the fulfillment of the prophecy about the second coming of Elijah.
Okay, let's first establish one point here. The belief that he's coming back is prefixed on the fact that he is sitting at the right-hand side of the throne. So we are expecting that that same person sitting at the right-hand side of the throne of God is to come, is to descend from the skies, so conspicuous for everybody to see that this is the man descending. And so if you say that the same person did not ascend into the heavens, but he's died, it means that the second coming of Jesus Christ will not be the same Jesus Christ who came and lived on the surface of the earth. And yet you have said that you believe that, yes, there's going to be a second coming of Jesus Christ. And that is a misconception I would want you to clarify.
Yes, clearly you have said it, that we believe that he died a natural death. And anybody that dies a natural death cannot come back to life. If you put the fruit of any tree or the seed, now it will germinate.
That's right.
If it germinates, it does not mean that that same fruit that you put there is the same fruit, but it's coming in another form. So Jesus going to heaven in his body at times for over 2,000 years. How does he look like now if he's the same human being who ate and who drank water and who went hungry to the extent that when he did not find fruit on a particular tree, he became disappointed that there was no fruit on that tree. That shows that he was a human being, exhibiting his weakness as a human being. So he is, as far as we are concerned, and I'm talking about Ahmadi Muslims are concerned, he is not living there in that same human form with God, and therefore he will not come back in that same form, again onto the earth. And like I was alluding to, his coming again is a true prophecy, but coming again in another form, and that is why I said that in the Bible, there was a prophecy about somebody who they believed to have gone to the sky on a chariot, and that was Elijah. And Elijah was to come back in the same form. But this same Jesus we are talking about really explained what that meant. When the Jews were questioning him, that if you say you are the Messiah, we are expecting that the Messiah will be preceded by Elijah. So Elijah has not come. So how come you say you are the Messiah? And he told them that Elijah has come long ago, except that you have not recognized him. And the people were surprised because they knew Elijah. They saw him going. Yes. How come they were expecting him to come from the sky? How come he has not come and you are saying that he has already come? We haven't seen him. Is it that you have different eyes than we do?
Okay.
Then he said, no. He pointed to John the Baptist and told him, this John the Baptist is the one who has come in the spirit of Elijah to pave the way for the coming of the Messiah. So that tells you that when Jesus spoke about his second coming, and it was going to be the same form, somebody was to come in the spirit of Jesus, in the form that Jesus came, with the same mission that is as a redeemer, as a reformer, as a person who will establish the unity of God once again on earth, as a person who will restore mankind back to their creator, as a person who will let mankind know that, hey, we have deviated from our path and we need to go back to our roots. That is the mission of a Messiah and of a Redeemer.
Okay. So basically, you also believe that Jesus Christ has to come back. The difference being that he is not to come in the same person as the Jesus Christ we know, but somebody else is coming in his spirit with the view to, or with the aim of coming to, reform mankind, those who have deviated from the true teachings of God. So the question now is, as a Muslim, are you still expecting that Jesus Christ, just as the Christians are also expecting him? Because if you are expecting him, they are also expecting him. Theirs is to come in the same person, and for Muslims, he is to come in a different form. That is what I want you to clarify. Are you still expecting him, or is it that he has come, and because, like in the case of John the Baptist, who came in place of Elijah, somebody else has come or is to come in place of Jesus Christ?
This is a very interesting question, and I really humbly hope that you will find another time to introduce it properly, because it requires a lot of discussion. But simply, put in answering this question straightforward, I'm an Ahmadi Muslim, and I'm very, very fortunate to be an Ahmadi Muslim who believes that this prophecy of Jesus' second coming has been fulfilled, and which is why I'm an Ahmadi Muslim. Oh, okay. It was fulfilled in the person of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmed Qadiani, who was raised from a village in India, a village called Qadian, and who claimed to have come in fulfillment of this prophecy about the second coming of Jesus, and whom I and all Ahmadis have accepted to be the one fulfilling that prophecy. Yes. So as far as we are Ahmadis are concerned, we are not expecting any coming of Jesus again, because he has come to, the second coming has already been fulfilled. Okay. I must concede that there are some Muslims who are still, just like Christians, expecting that he will come and come back again.
That's quite understandable. The issue, one of the issues you raise also has to do with numerous prophets who had been sent by Allah to the world to guide mankind. So to say that a Muslim must necessarily believe in all these prophets, and yet the Muslims seem to have singled out one particular prophet to be the one that they are following. First of all, why the need to single out one personality as the prophet that is known to be the prophet that Muslims are following? And if such a person is there, then why they need also to believe in all the other prophets? Because after all, you have one prophet that you say that this is our prophet, and he has all the teachings. The guidance that you need has been given to him, and he is the one who is guiding the Muslims. So why they need again to believe in all the numerous prophets, the uncountable number of prophets who have been sent to the world by the Almighty, as you said.
You see, when you start going to school, you begin from class 1, and you have your class 1 teacher. When you get to class 2, you have your class 2 teacher, and so on and so forth. So passing through from class 1 to, if I take you back in those days, to standard 7, you might have received or learned from 7 different teachers. These 7 teachers taught you differently at a point in time. At whatever level, your capacity to understand is what guided the teachings that they gave you, how much you can absorb. So as you were moving forward, the level of knowledge and the expectations from you increased up until when you got to the university level, when it is said that now the whole world of knowledge is opened to you, that you can now learn from everywhere to anywhere. I did indicate to you earlier on that Islam is the culmination of all religions. And so the earlier religions that were raised to a specific tribe or a specific nation. Like Jesus, he was sent to the children of Israel. Like Buddha, to the people of India, and Confucianists, Krishna, Abraham and co have all, we believe in all of them because the religion, which is one religion, they taught aspects of it. Okay. They all taught aspects of it. And mankind had not developed to a level where one same teaching could be heard everywhere and could be sent anywhere. So these things, until the Prophet Muhammad came, when Allah knew that the world or mankind has reached a stage where we all can understand and come under one single message and one single law. And that was why it was named Islam. So God says that this day have I perfected your religion for you and have chosen Islam. So the religion Islam did not start from the Holy Prophet Muhammad. It started from all the prophets. But when it came to perfection, that Allah gave the name Islam, okay, and then it became religion for
Finally, just briefly, if indeed all these prophets have come from the same person, or I mean, for want of better word, meaning God, they all came from God, there has to be one single message. Because if it is the same God, he cannot be sending different prophets and be sending them with different messages. So can you point to any single message that is common, that we can hinge on it and say that, yes, this is the message that if indeed they came from the same person, then that message is running through all of them, the teachings that they brought?
Yes. And it is this about the unity of God.
Okay.
From Moses and goes, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one God." Right. Jesus came and said, for you to know salvation, you must know your God, the one true God. Okay. And the same with all other prophets. And the Muhammad Muhammad said, La ilaha illallah. There's no other God but Allah. Okay. So this ran through all the
and
prophets.
That is an indication that they came from the faith. Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson, for having you once again. Our dear listeners, this is how far time will allow us. I believe that you will be interested in our subsequent discussions as well, and we promise you that we'll come your way with very interesting topics. On this note, I wish to thank all of you for being with us all this while, and we want to thank Alhaji once again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah